at somebody and know if they're suffering from food insecurity, but you can certainly see the effects on school-age children. The Trump administration's decision to cut food programs makes it harder for people to access healthy foods and targets the most vulnerable, those without power, money, or voice. In New Jersey, we'll stand to lose $26 million from the USDA, of which $16 million was set to provide foods for school breakfast and lunches. $9.9 million had been allocated to purchase fruits and vegetables from New Jersey's farm stands for our food banks. Those food banks, like Maywood's own Food Brigade, works every day to make sure that no child or adult in New Jersey goes hungry. In 2024, that statewide Food Brigade fed 50,000 New Jersey adults and 15,000 children. Those USDA cuts will make their mission more challenging and life for 65,000 people harder. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Superintendent of Schools, Mike Jordan. That's Mike Jordan.
Oh, Mike's going to do it. Okay.
Who will lead us on the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Jordan.
Welcome. See you. Thanks, Superintendent.
Our country's flag is before us, so let us proudly salute it. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Superintendent. Thank you. Joel Berg is up next. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Joel Berg, Joelberg, and I'm CEO of Hunger Free America. We're a nationwide anti-hunger advocacy and direct service group. I want to again thank Congressman Gottheimer for his consistent, steadfast leadership on these issues. What the Trump administration is doing is a trifecta of bad policy. It's going to harm local farmers, harm students' health, and increase child hunger. I worked at the U.S. Department of Agriculture for 8 years in the 90s, and I don't think people understand that most farm programs that come from the federal government do not particularly help states like New Jersey, because the programs discriminate against fruits and vegetables, which of course the Garden State is one of the East Coast leaders on. So this policy will particularly hurt schools in New Jersey, particularly hurt farmers in New Jersey. Schools like this that are suburban do not benefit currently from the universal eligibility that the congressman's been fighting for. So we hope that the congressman and others are able to help restore sanity in Washington, but right now this policy makes no sense. It's going to make the state hungrier. It's going to eventually possibly raise taxes on local school taxes because taxpayers will have to pick up the slack for federal funding. It makes no sense either morally or just common sense. Thank you, Congressman.
Excellent. Excellent. Thanks. Excellent. Now, Sal, you're up. Thanks, man. Thanks, Sal. Thanks so much.
Hello, my name is Sal Valenza. I'm the Public Policy and Legislative Chair for the New Jersey School Nutrition Association. So, when we look at what's going on, the elimination of future funding for the LFS program is a short-term, short-sighted fix to try to save money, which in the long term will pale in comparison to the value that's lost by having these programs. These programs support our local farmers, then they support our local schools, they support our local communities, and ultimately they support our children. So we're looking at removing this money from the mouths of the kids in the state of New Jersey. And when we talk about making America healthy again, I don't understand, if we're not doing that for the children, who are we making America great again for? Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Sal. One for Sal and Joel. Our great friend Nicole is up next from Production Network. Well, see you.
Nicole Davis, Center for Food Action. Center for Food Action has been a fixture in northern New Jersey for 48 years. Our pantry system serves over 100 towns in Bergen and Passaic counties, with multiple locations in Englewood, Hackensack, Saddlebrook, Mahwah, and on the campus of Bergen Community College. We provide food to over 4,000 households each month. 1/3 are children. These federal funding cuts have a direct impact on our ability to serve families, reducing their access to fresh fruits and vegetables, which are critical to good health. We understand that access to fresh produce directly impacts the nutrition and learning outcomes for our children facing food insecurity. These cuts are just not numbers, but they are people. This isn't just a hit to CFA, it is a devastating blow that lands on the families who depend on food pantries, both large and small, and to the food banks across the state of New Jersey. Thank you.
Excellent. Now, our very good friend and food advocate and champion, our great Commissioner Zur.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Congressman. As we stood here saying the Pledge of Allegiance before, it just struck me how many kids, as they're saying the Pledge of Allegiance every day before school, are having their stomachs growling because they don't have adequate nutrition. You know, it's estimated that 1 in 6 kids in the state of New Jersey are going hungry every single day. We've seen a 26% increase in Bergen County food pantries utilization, and this program, these cuts actually are going to be touching 11 of our school districts and innumerable pantries who are depending upon the Community Food Bank in New Jersey to provide their produce. You know, this to me just smacks of penny-wise, pound-foolish policy. I was at the National Association of Counties just 2 weeks ago and heard from Darcy Johnson, the Deputy Director of the Department of Health and Human Services, talk about Make America Healthy Again, talking about food as medicine and their focus being on disease prevention. And that's out of one side of the mouth, and out of the other side of the mouth, they're cutting funding to those who need it the most. We see through our community health needs assessments that diabetes and obesity in those communities that are underserved, in communities that are dealing with food insecurity profoundly, have been an issue for decades. We are making such progress in trying to get healthier foods on people's plates, and this just strikes right at the core. So, you know, this news for me is devastating for what we've been trying to push forward in Bergen County, for what County Executive Tedesco and my colleagues on the Board of Commissioners have been focusing on. I know, Congressman, you care so profoundly. This affects 275 schools throughout the state, and I'm so grateful for your advocacy to continue to push for not just affordability, but for making sure that there's equity and that our kids have the ability to learn and thrive and have the fuel to succeed. So our voices are going to be more necessary now than ever, and we're going to need to be more creative. All of these partners up here and throughout all of our pantry partners as well on how we continue to meet the needs. But this blow is devastating. Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Tracy. Well, you heard it from everybody, and I want to thank the mayor for having us, superintendent and principal. I want to thank Joel and Sal and Nicole for their incredible work. Councilman Herrick, Councilman Bennon, thank you so much for your leadership. I want to thank law enforcement who's here, and I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Lisa from Hunger Free America. Hunger
Free New Jersey.
Hunger Free New Jersey, sorry. Hunger Free New Jersey. Anybody else I'm forgetting? I got you, Lisa, twice. Anyone I'm missing? I want to make sure I cover everybody who's here. I'm so grateful for the advocates and the champions who make sure we every single day fight to help our kids. So I just want to say thank you for your incredible work and leadership. It's always good to be here in Maywood. We're at Memorial Elementary School. You hear the kids playing behind us, and I'm thinking, right now, right? They've got fuel in the tank, they're running around, right? And I think about all the kids who come to school every day with no fuel in their tank. Not only can't they run around in a playground, but they don't have the energy to be able to focus in the classroom. So you hear about making these claims to, what do they say on Make America what?
Healthy again.
Make America healthy again? Really? What a joke when you're actually, the first things you do is gut the school meals program and take away resources from our kids' mouths, school breakfast and school lunch. These kids who wake up every single day and depend on just anything to help get them through the day. So it's a tough day because these kids are like rockets preparing to take off for a successful life and career, but they're not going to reach the dreams that they all have without the fuel in the tank that we talked about. You hear about all these cuts going on, right? Going after Medicaid, which will hurt our children and our seniors, going after veterans, which is outrageous. But to go after our kids too, we know so many kids in New Jersey are showing up at school every day looking for help, looking for food. And we're not immune here in New Jersey at all. This really, as Tracy said, and as everyone said, this really has a huge impact on our children here in the state of New Jersey, not just across the country. In fact, study shows that 3 out of 5 public school teachers say that students regularly come to school hungry. Every day, about 500,000 school-age children in New Jersey depend on school breakfast and school lunch. It's a lot of kids, right? And these are not just numbers, these are faces. Look, you can see them. Look at the faces, right? It's often the only time of day that a child gets to eat. And in many cases, the only time a child gets fresh fruit and vegetables, which is what was being announced today. I don't mean ketchup, by the way, when I'm talking about vegetables, which technically qualifies as a vegetable in some school meals. I mean actual vegetables, like the ones you want your children to eat so they can grow up healthy and strong, right? Those are the kind of vegetables we're talking about. Yet this week, in a shockingly heartless move, the Trump administration announced that they are gutting the school meals program, slashing federal funding at the U.S. Department of Agriculture that provides fresh, locally sourced fruits and vegetables and food to schools and to food banks. This includes fresh fruits and vegetables from 46 farms and food producers across the great state of New Jersey, including 11 farms in my own district here in northern New Jersey. New Jersey farms alone will lose $26 million. So it not just hurts our kids, but it's hurting our economy, right? With this draconian move, the administration is slashing $1 billion of food assistance for America's children and our most vulnerable children. Not only are far-right extremists sticking it to our farmers and the local economy, they are so dead set on cutting federal spending without any kind of plan, without a strategy, that they are willing to literally snatch food out of the mouths of hungry children. It's shameless, and it's just more of this chaos that we're dealing with. I'm all for strategies. I'm all for looking at plans. Can we do things better and smarter? This is not better and smarter. This is just heartless. That's why we're here today, as part of my Stop School Hunger plan, to ensure that no child in New Jersey ever has to sit in a classroom hungry, focused only on how they might get their next meal instead of what's on the blackboard in front of them. The facts couldn't be clearer. For those students who eat breakfast and lunch, we see much better performance in the classroom, and they perform much better when they graduate. Hunger in the classroom leads to a decreased ability to focus, decreased physical activity, stomach aches, headaches, depression, and anxiety. Studies show that students who skip breakfast generally make more errors, have slower memory recall, and are more likely to be absent, tardy, and repeat a grade. Meanwhile, students who eat meals at school are less likely to be hyperactive and have fewer behavioral issues and attention focusing than their peers. A Tufts University study showed elementary school students who eat breakfast listen better and have better spatial memory and short-term memory than students who skip meals. Students who aren't hungry have better vitamin and nutrient intake, healthy overall diets, and less susceptibility to obesity. According to Feeding America, more than 44 million people in the U.S. face hunger, including 1 in 5 children. In Jersey, 10% of our state's population is food insecure. More than a quarter of Americans say they're skipping meals because they can't afford grocery bills. I say that because that's especially true right now with prices surging everywhere for food. Right? It's made it extra hard for families who are struggling to pay to put food on the table for their kids. Egg prices are up 53% from where they were a year ago. And by the way, they're up 10% from January this year alone. The USDA predicts that egg prices will continue to rise another 41% this year. Think about the impact that's going to have on the cost of food for our families and for our kids. It's going to make it extra hard for parents struggling to help feed their children. Beef prices are were up 10% over the last year and are predicted to be up another 10% this year. Food insecurity doesn't just lead to poor health. Food insecure families spend more on health care, actually $2,500 more a year than families who have enough to eat. It affects their whole lives, everything about it. It's why feeding our children and our families is just so important. And in the greatest country in the world, there's no reason why we can't. These statistics just scratch the surface. Yes, this is a public safety issue. Studies have shown that when we address hunger, violence and violent crime drops. By making sure everyone has enough to eat, everyone is safer and healthier. That's why today I'm sounding the alarm on the administration's draconian cuts that will hurt our children and announcing new steps to strengthen the school meals program and protect Jersey students and families all across the state of New Jersey and across our country. First, no child in northern New Jersey or anywhere in the country should start their day hungry and fail in school because we fail to act. We can't let a single child go hungry. I'm sending a letter to the new U.S. Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, urging the administration to reverse course on these vicious cuts to school breakfast and lunch, and to stress the disastrous impact they will have on Jersey children, families, and farmers. Don't take away the kids' fruits and vegetables. Don't do that to our children. Second, we know that many families who can afford school meals never sign up because the paperwork is too confusing or burdensome, or they can't afford the reduced meal prices in the first place. Too often, some schools don't provide any meals, even if some kids qualify. We have schools in the state of New Jersey where the federal government will pay for their food. There are kids who qualify for school breakfast and school lunch, and yet, still, they will not provide, the school won't provide school meals to the kids. Either they don't like the stigma of having kids on the school meals program, or they don't want to deal with the administrative burden of signing kids up, even though, again, it's fully paid for by your tax dollars. We pay for this already, and schools don't want to claw the money back to Jersey. That's why last Congress, I helped introduce the No Hungry Kids in Schools Act to streamline the school meal program with less paperwork, eliminating requirements to collect bureaucratic, hard-to-manage applications from individual households that prevent so many receiving assistance. Schools will instead automatically qualify based on the needs determined by the state. That's how we increase efficiency to ensure fewer children go hungry, not by haphazardly cutting programs that help our families. The Universal School Meals Bill we are also planning to introduce will provide meals to all school children if any kids in the school qualify for reduced or free lunch. It eliminates burdensome and costly paperwork and applications for parents and schools and helps reduce the stigma associated with meals program. Before the pandemic, there were more than 6 million meals provided to students in need across the 5th District. So I fought tooth and nail to claw back federal dollars to help more of our kids. And during the pandemic, 9 million meals were provided, a substantial increase, and we know it reduced child poverty. Think about the benefits that has for our families and our economy. Last, to the point that you made, that was, I think, a really, really important point on the tax point. If we gut this program and the administration goes ahead and guts the school lunch program and takes food out of the mouths of hungry children so that they don't perform as well, this will also not just be a tax on them personally, but this will mean it will be an additional tax on New Jersey. Because, by the way, we're not going to not feed our kids. So that means that someone's going to have to make up the difference. It's going to be a result in actually this administration, the Trump administration, is going to actually raise taxes by doing this on New Jersey and families, right? Because this will leave a huge gap. It's outrageous. Finally, I'm announcing new legislation, the Expanding Access to School Meals Act, to allow any child who qualifies for reduced meals to receive them at no cost. New Jersey has already done this, and there's no reason why it shouldn't be a national priority. My legislation also expands the poverty threshold for free school lunch from 130% to 224% of the federal poverty level, which New Jersey currently does. We can't let another day go by and another kid go hungry in the morning or any time during the day. With the tremendous benefit that science tells us that eating meals, breakfast and lunch, makes for our kids, we should do everything we can, shouldn't we, to help them out, to ensure that no child is hungry in New Jersey or around the country. We've got some of the best schools in the country, and providing our children the resources so they can succeed is essential. It is a no-brainer. There's nothing red or blue about feeding our children. There's nothing red or blue about making sure they can succeed. There's nothing red or blue about making sure they have what they need so that in the greatest country in the world, our best days will always be ahead of us. And I know that if we work together, and we talk about this, I'm in the Hunger Caucus, we talk about this all the time. If we work together in a bipartisan way, which most of these efforts are, we can do this for our kids in all states around the country, because it's key to our competitiveness as a nation, not just to our kids' success. So let's do it. Let's work together. Make sure here in this great country that we do the right thing by our kids, by all those kids we hear over there, that we all work together with this incredible effort of incredible leaders to get this resolved and encourage the administration to reverse course. Don't hurt our kids. Take care of our kids. Thanks so much, guys.